Good morning, Digit fam, and a special good morning to Katie Bellman, who unknowingly helped my daughter out through a tough time at school. She's also a character in our main story today, so I will explain shortly. For now, though, it is April 11th, 2019, and this is your Digit Daily. So, if you were expecting Interstellar, you were bound for disappointment. This was a slightly different scenario, you see. Christopher Nolan wasn't behind the camera this time, the camera wasn't placed 55 million light years away, and oh, this black hole wasn't a visual effect. This was an actual black hole. So, let's get the practical stuff out of the way. Yes, the photo is blurry. But that's because a black hole is 55 million miles away, and we used a planet-sized telescope to see it. But what that photo represents is a remarkable achievement. It was the optical equivalent of taking a photo of a donut placed on the surface of the moon. No person can do that. It took 8 telescopes from places like Arizona, Spain, Mexico, and Antarctica, all working together over a span of 10 days just to gather the data. Then, that data, petabytes of it, was stored on hard drives that were flown between Boston and Germany to process it and finally form this photograph. Hooray for international cooperation, am I right? So who is Katie Bellman then? She's an assistant professor of computing and mathematical sciences at Caltech who, as a grad student, developed the algorithm that made processing the photo possible. She has since been thrust into the spotlight and is quickly becoming known as the woman behind the first black hole picture. She is quick to point out that she had an amazing interdisciplinary team of scientists and engineers and a whole bunch of people a whole lot smarter than me working on this project, which is nice, but Katie, come on. You gotta Neil deGrasse Tyson this. This is your chance. Start a podcast, do the press tours, go for the gold. So how did this work? Well, all of those telescopes pointed at the black hole and it said, geez. Well, actually, that's not exactly how it worked. Actually, there's a TED Talk from Professor Bellman who explains how this algorithm was developed. And again, it's a whole lot smarter than me, so there's a link in the show notes. Go check it out. So what does this all mean? Well, first of all, it needs to be understood that despite Interstellar, despite Star Wars, despite so many occurrences in Stargate, no one has ever seen a black hole until now. That in and of itself is an achievement. We took a photograph of something that sucks in light and doesn't allow it to escape. As Android Authority's lead technical writer and overall smarty pants Robert Triggs put it, quote, "The black hole is real, an area where space accelerates towards an infinitesimally small point faster than the speed of light, where time and space flip dimensional axis, where particles radiate in and out of existence as if from nothing. It's insane, it hurts my head, and it's a real thing out there in the big old universe, and we have a blurry picture to prove it." Some other vital stats here. The black hole, which is labeled as Messier 87 or M87, weighs 6.5 billion times our sun and is the size of our solar system, roughly 62 billion with a B miles across. Remember a couple months ago when we talked about Voyager 1 entering interstellar space? Yeah, it would have just now made it to the event horizon of the black hole. And finally, this is not the last photo we'll see of a black hole. Scientists are onto something here, and they're looking forward to snapping a few more black holies before all is said and done. Now, there's more to say here. There's so much more to say here, but this is already getting a little long for a Digit Daily, so we're going to cut it off here. There are a ton of links in the show notes, though, so get on it, get reading. Oh, and getting back to Professor Bellman helping my daughter out, my daughter just got her first pair of glasses on Tuesday, and she wore them to school for the first time yesterday. When she came home, she told my wife and I that some kids in her class said she looked nerdy. So I told her, you know what a nerdy girl did today? Took the world's first picture of a black hole 55 million light years from Earth. Smile, heart melts, and scene. So now that we're all teary-eyed, I'm not crying, you're crying, let's head into the roundup! Samsung announced the latest in its line of Galaxy A phones, including the Galaxy A80. The A80 has a triple camera setup on the back with a slider mechanism that pops up from behind the screen to take selfies. Well, we've seen that before, right? Sure, but in addition to popping up, the triple camera setup on the back rotates to face forward, and God, I love 2019. This is a great year for bat crazy phones, and I love it. Julian Assange has been arrested in London at the Ecuadorian Consulate after having his asylum status revoked by the President of Ecuador. The co-founder of WikiLeaks has been taken to a police station in London, and who knows where from there? Perhaps extradition to the United States to have a chat about some leaked documents, perhaps? Fair to say Julian Assange is having a very, very bad day today. So, this next story is a little hard to digest. Amazon employs thousands of employees and contractors around the world to listen to voice commands to help Amazon's AI get better at doing things. Lord knows Alexa can use all the help she can get, but a new Bloomberg report suggests a fairly cavalier attitude towards the recordings. Quote, occasionally listeners pick up things Echo owners likely would rather stay private. A woman singing badly off key in the shower, say, or a child screaming for help. The teams use internal chat rooms to share some files when they need help parsing a muddied word or come across an amusing recording. Okay, so this suggests two things. One, recordings are easily shared, and I'm not so sure that recordings like this should be so readily shareable without some kind of audit system in place, so everybody knows exactly who listened to what recordings. And two, it suggests that recordings come through when the command word was not triggered, and if that's the case, what the f***, Amazon? Amazon has tried to downplay the report, citing security measures and zero-tolerance policies, but this warrants further digging, methinks. Oh, and just in case, Alexa, stop listening to me, you f***.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Sharp showed off one of the first clamshell folding phone designs in a concept/prototype type of thing. This is going to be a normal-sized phone that folds in half, Motorola Razr style, and the best part is, no fold gap. Suck it, Samsung. But on the downside, Sharp says that this kind of tech for consumers is a few years out yet. But this sounds a whole lot like the Royal Flex Pi, which is to say, this sounds a lot like a device that is designed to attract other phone manufacturers to Sharp's displays, which is fine, but only because we're reasonably sure that Motorola will have something out much sooner than that, and I personally can't wait. Apple has convinced its suppliers Foxconn and TSMC to use only renewable energy in factories that produce iPhone parts by 2020. Of course, this is the same Foxconn who said they'd build $1 billion with a $1 billion manufacturing plant in Wisconsin before saying, LOL, never mind, stupid cheeseheads. To this day, reporters are still trying to pin down what the hell Foxconn is doing in Wisconsin because it sure as heck is not building a factory. If I were Apple, I would send investigators to those Foxconn factories on the regular and check for basements with kids shoveling coal into giant heaters while you're at it. Foxconn has no credibility with me. And finally, YouTube TV raised its prices to $50 per month following the addition of some new channels like the Discovery Channel. Now, I like watching cheetahs kill gazelle as much as the next guy. Actually, I don't, but anyway. But YouTube TV is supposed to be a cord cutter package, you know, as in I'm cutting the cord because cable is too expensive. Well, $50 is starting to sound a lot more like a cable package and less like a cord cutter package. Tread carefully here, YouTube. So that is going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, leave a review, and tell your friends about DigitDailyPod.com so you can all join in the fun. Once again, I'm Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter, and we'll talk again tomorrow.